A young woman enters an Airbnb to celebrate her birthday with a childhood friend, but she never walks out alive. A police car drives past the killer, who is carrying the victim's lifeless body to the dumping site, but the officers don't stop. The killer uses the victim's credit card to subscribe to OnlyFans and gets caught. What is going on? Let's dive right into this tragic story involving childhood friends. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a truly heartbreaking and shocking true crime story. The murder of Joselyn Toaquiza by her childhood friend, Jhon Chacaguasay-Ilbis, at a birthday party he planned for her. This case not only stunned the world, but also left many questions about motive and trust. Let's break down what happened step by step. Joselyn and Jhon were childhood friends from Ecuador who had both recently moved to the United States. They knew each other from school back home, and both were awaiting immigration hearings in New York. For Joselyn's 21st birthday, Jhon went out of his way to make it special. He rented an Airbnb, bought her a cake, new sneakers, and even miniature wine bottles labeled with, "I love you." On June 18th, 2024, he picked her up from the hotel where she worked as a housekeeper and took her to the Airbnb for what was supposed to be a night of celebration. But what should have been a joyful occasion took a dark turn. Surveillance footage from the Airbnb showed Joselyn and Jhon entering the property together, both looking at their phones. About 3 hours later, the same camera captured Jhon leaving the house, this time carrying Joselyn's limp body over his shoulders. He loaded her into his car and left. Shockingly, a police cruiser passed by as he was carrying her, but didn't stop. Jhon then buried Joselyn in a shallow grave in Lincoln Park, directly across from the Airbnb. He returned to the house, changed into new clothes, and then boarded a bus to New York City. Joselyn's family reported her missing the next day when she didn't show up for work. After days of searching, her body was found on June 22, 2024, in Lincoln Park. The autopsy confirmed she had been strangled to death with a ligature method that suggests intent and a chilling degree of violence. But Jhn's actions didn't stop at murder. While in New York City, he used Joselyn's credit cards to make several purchases, including a subscription to OnlyFans. This detail, revealed in court, added to the outrage and horror surrounding the case. Jhon was arrested and charged with second-degree murder. In March 2025, he was sentenced to 23 years to life in prison. In court, he apologized to Joselyn's family, but the motive for the crime remains unclear to this day. Prosecutors and commentators have noted that while the evidence of intent is strong, the case lacks a clear explanation for why Jhon killed his longtime friend. The specific evidence that led to Jhon being charged with second-degree murder includes security footage captured Jhon and Joselyn entering the Airbnb together, and later showed him carrying her lifeless body out of the property and past a police cruiser. Cause of death, which the autopsy confirmed that Joselyn died from strangulation, which is consistent with an intentional act rather than an accident. After the killing, Jhon buried Joselyn's body in a shallow grave and fled the city, actions that demonstrate concealment of the body and consciousness of guilt. He also used Joselyn's credit cards after her death, including for an OnlyFans subscription, further tying him to the crime and showing post-murder intent to benefit from the victim. Jhon eventually pleaded guilty and confessed to the crime and admitted responsibility in court, although he initially claimed he did not remember the incident due to intoxication. These pieces of evidence established that Jhon intentionally killed Joselyn, fulfilling the requirements for a second-degree murder charge, which involves intentional but not premeditated killing. But why second-degree murder and not first? It seems to be a clear first-degree murder charge, right? Not quite according to the law. Jhon was charged with second-degree murder rather than first-degree murder because the prosecution did not have sufficient evidence to prove that the killing was premeditated or planned in advance, a key requirement for a first-degree murder charge. In this case, while Jhon intentionally strangled Joselyn, there was no clear evidence presented that he had planned or deliberated the murder before the birthday party. For a first-degree murder charge, it needs to be proven that the murder was premeditated or planned in advance. Absent of that, the charge that was handed to Jhon was second-degree murder. This case is a tragic reminder that sometimes the greatest dangers come from those closest to us. Who would expect our childhood friend to harm them this way? Some speculate that Jhon might have asked Joselyn to be his girlfriend, and she may have rejected his advances. It is possible that Jhon lost control of his emotions, was thrown into a fit of rage, and committed the heinous act. However, these are only speculations, and we may never know the full truth. If you found this breakdown informative, please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what you think about this case. Why do you think Jhon did it? Was it premeditated or something else entirely? Stay safe and see you in the next video.